Ladies and gentlemen, we have an angry old hoops fan reaction. Gonna be reacting to changing the rules. And this video is gonna be specifically discussed on traveling and dribbling. So, without further ado, let's jump right in.
46-45. And Jordan calls
Yep, travel. Travel.
Pippen getting to it. And a traveling violation call. Most Devon's called for step.
I've noticed in these first couple of clips, players are shuffling their feet. Number one, there's no dribble first. There's nothing. It's just, I don't know if it's instincts or hey, hey, they're just moving their feet before they dribble the ball first.
Side of the floor. Traveling violation.
Yep, again, got him again.
Paxson lost the grip. Lakers look to break.
Oh, there it is.
A traveling violation called on Magic Johnson.
This is obviously a continuation of the series called Changing the Rules for Jordan. Now we're moving on from the hard hits and the fouls and all that to other rules like traveling. You know how I like to go back and watch the old finals? Well, those clips that I just showed, I pulled from one game. And that was the finals. And those were stars getting called. The reason I mention that is to point out how easy it would be for me to go back and get a ton of examples from the past. This is one game, and they're even calling it on the stars in the finals.
My impression of LeBron fans explaining that us old school basketball people just don't understand the game. You idiots call that a travel. It's called a gather step. You've got your gather step, your pre-gather, your post-gather, then you've got two steps after that, and then you have a hop, which really isn't even a step if you think about it legally.
You hear weird things come out of the mouths of people these days trying to explain why it's okay to take way more steps than people ever took in the past. So an episode like this gets way more complicated than it should be because we have to look at, okay, are we talking about how people are interpreting a rule? Are we looking at the fact that the NBA has changed some language? Are we looking at the fact that, no, it really is traveling, it's just not being called? And finally, if it's not traveling, then what were all those NBA players doing back then? You know, why weren't people taking advantage of the fact that you could take several more steps?
Damn.
You know, clearly that's going to help you get to the hoop. You have to go into a pretty serious level of denial, just delusion, to think that professional athletes playing in the NBA for a long time, and not just your regular players, you're talking about the top players that understand the game better than anyone else, didn't know that there were more steps to take. And apparently the refs didn't know it either, because they're calling these guys for taking like half a step.
Right.
However you want to try and justify today's NBA, clearly something changed. When it comes to taking steps, players are getting away with more than they used to.
Right.
Now that is changing rules in favor of someone. That is giving someone a new advantage. So throw all the semantics out the window. You made things easier. So you can't say that they changed rules for Jordan when they actually have made things easier for players since Jordan's time. If anything, the opposite of what these people are claiming is true. And why, you know, with all the declarations about these are superior athletes, why would you make things easier for people who are superior? Shouldn't they be making the rules harder?
Right.
Just a reminder of how many more topics we need to cover. They changed the rules for counting assists to make it easier for people to have an assist counted. They have changed the rules for what you count as a rebound or don't count as a rebound. Hand checking is gone. You know, you can't even imagine how much that's changed things. Personally, I'm willing to put money that the flopping thing is still not going to be enforced worth a crap. The
It's
fact
not.
that the league had to
If you had to come up with a rule for flopping, bro, but at the same time, if you're gonna come up with a rule with flopping, what happened to like finding players for flopping, or was it like giving them a technical or something like that, or whatever it was? But 2022, but at the same time, players are still flopping to this day, but they're not being caught. It's not being enforced, so it doesn't make sense.
come out with official rules about how to punish people that are flopping shows you how far the league has fallen.
Oh
A rule like
gosh,
this didn't used to be necessary because people weren't interested in flopping. They were interested in simply defeating the enemy honestly. It certainly doesn't help people understand better when today anyone can post whatever their opinion is on the web, declare it as a fact, and have other idiots spread it until enough people see it and they also decide that it's fact. Look at this one. What is Metro League? I don't know. I don't want to spend time bashing on them, but look at their interpretation of the gather step. The gather step can be taken before taking 2 steps. You can take a few steps before taking 2 more if you want to shoot a basket.
that's technically, man, that's technically a freaking travel, bro. A gather is supposed to be 2 steps. It's not supposed to be no more than 2 steps. It's not supposed to be gather, take extra steps in order to score or lay the ball. Bro, what happened to the rules? Oh man.
Few more? You can take a few
That's
steps.
considered traveling.
What does a few even mean? You know, I can't take you seriously when you're not even going to use a specific number. Now instead of understanding the rules, I've got to go and look at the definition of a few and then wonder if that's even the definition that they're referring to.
Right. A few
Something
could
else
be
I don't like
any
about
number.
the word gather. You're referring to when the player gains control of the ball. Well, isn't that subjective? Who gets to decide when they've gained control?
Right.
Or is it the act of gaining control? There's a way to simplify this, and that's to go to the NBA rulebook. So can we all agree that we're not going to go argue about street ball rules or high school rules or college rules or Europe rules, whatever direction you're going to try and take off with? We're going to talk about the NBA. And as much as I wish that that would simplify things, anytime something says new language has been added, like, oh man, does this mean language that has to be interpreted? Which means that it's up to who interprets it and how they interpret it. But I'll go back to this. If the new language allows things to get easier, well, you made things easier for these new, more impressive athletes.
Yep.
That should be getting the rules made harder on them, if anything,
Yep.
since they're superior. This is even worse than I thought, because in part 3 of section B of talking about gathering, they use the word enough, otherwise gains enough control. Well, who gets to define enough? We have another.
What I'm starting to see now is terminology. They're trying to beat around the bush. It's not strictly rules like that's cut clear. It's like added verbiage, a fluff, basically. A word salad is what they're. Bro, what the? Oh gosh.
Subjective word. This one's pretty straightforward. He doesn't dribble at all and then takes.
That's
Good
traveling,
God, how many
dude.
steps did he take?
The rule, quote unquote, said gathering is before 2 steps, but that's more than.
He doesn't dribble at all and then takes. Good God, how many steps did he take?
That looks like 8
Under
steps.
the traveling section, B. A
Or
player
10,
who
I don't even
gathers
know.
the ball while progressing may take
Dude.
2 steps in
Oh,
coming
this
to a
is
stop,
pissing me off, bro.
passing, or shooting the ball. or if he has not yet dribbled one step prior to releasing the ball. LeBron did not dribble. Therefore, he only gets one step.
4.
Let's go to section 2 under dribbling. A player shall not run with the ball without dribbling it.
Traveling, bro. Traveling, bro. What the heck?
C, a player may not dribble a second time after he has voluntarily ended his first dribble. Now, we're going to have arguments about when the dribble was ended. This is why I don't like the idea of when a ball has come to a rest. While LeBron is being featured here, I do acknowledge that many players get away with this. The question is, have they made the rules easier or harder? Maybe a more accurate question is, have they stopped blowing the whistle? The rules are basically still the same, but they just don't blow the whistle to make things easier. And the reason LeBron appears so often is I don't think the guy can handle the ball without traveling and carrying. Even if you want to defend modern ball handling, someone that you declare as the best should not have the rules changed to where he can now dribble like a kindergartner. Grab it, stop, restart, whatever you need, LeBron. D, a player who is dribbling may not put any part of his hand under the ball and carry it from one point to another, or bring it to a pause and then continue to dribble again. Okay, so now we argue about when exactly the hand is under the ball. You know, when I was coached, you couldn't even come near it. I don't even think you could side dribble. Maybe I was coached wrong. Maybe I was coached a little bit too strictly. But either way, we're a long, long way from that. Not even comparable. Actually just got back from a pickup game and I closed out on this kid who picked up his dribble. And then he just started dribbling again. And nobody said anything, which means I can't say anything. You know, when you get to stop and start like you're a 4-year-old on a Nerf playground, yeah, that makes it easier. You can't say that it doesn't make it easier when you reduce the rules to childlike shit.
Yep.
I thought to myself, if I'm going to play out here, I have to reteach myself to learn to cheat. I have to actually break all the rules that I was taught. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it based on principle alone. So if we focus on part 2, a player who is dribbling may not put any part of his hand under the ball and bring it to a pause. Are people going to argue that you can bring it to a pause as long as the hand isn't under the ball? You know, if we go back to part 1, it says you can't carry it from one point to another. LeBron carries the ball from one point to another all the time. He like literally carries the ball across from one side of the defender over to the other side of the defender before continuing the dribble after that. So are we going to argue that it's not a travel just because of his hand position, even though the ball came to a rest and was moved from one point to another? I mean, if you're going to argue that, how are you not also arguing that they've made things easier? Just admit that they've made things easier. Personally, no matter who's in this photo, the fact that that's a professional athlete dribbling, not passing, is really unfortunate. One closing example, I might be the only one who noticed this, but LeBron gains control of the ball with 2 hands right there, brings it to a rest, then continues dribbling while shoving the defender out of the way. Nothing about that's legal. It's bad enough that he gains control using two hands, but then he cradles the ball under his right arm as he forearm shivers the smaller defender out of the way before continuing on with the rest of its completely illegal offensive bag. Most
Oh, this video. Oh, this video. Matter of fact, you know what? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for making these videos. Thank you, angry old hoops fan. Thank you for making these videos because this is this is infuriating. The real change or lack of has ruined modern basketball. They're not calling things. Bro. Oh man, this is pissing me off.
interesting thing about watching LeBron on offense these days is counting how many illegal things the refs will let him do in one possession. But yeah, they made things easier for Jordan.
And Jordan called for travel.
No, honestly, you old heads, you just don't understand the rules. Gotta be one of my favorite things going on right now. Idiots who preface their statements by saying, honestly, if you think about it, I mean, really, if you think about it, to be honest, I'm just saying. And as if all those phrases make whatever garbage comes out of their mouths next true. Of course, I'm being facetious. That is not one of my favorite things. That is one of the most annoying things. Oops, I said facetious. I can't use words like that for the LeBron fans watching. I'll try to keep my vocabulary to 2-syllable words or less. Honestly. Oh, shit. That has 3 syllables, doesn't it? The more I read this Metro League page, the more I realize they are all over the place. This is some weird stuff. And I'm not gaining anything by ripping on them. The point is that this was one of the top results when you search for traveling rules. And it's just really bad information. And it's a top result. You see how dangerous this is? If you are dribbling the ball, it is important to keep track of how many steps you have taken. Why? The steps don't matter while you're dribbling. How many steps can you take in basketball without dribbling? A player can take more than 3 steps without dribbling the ball if they gather it before taking 2 steps.
That's crazy. Yo, these rules are just freaking. It's like there it is. It's like filler words that's being used to mask. Oh, this is this is pissing me off, bro. It goes with every little rule change that's matter of fact, the rules are there. It's just it's not being called.
Okay. I mean, this is so mixed up. Now I have to approach it from multiple angles. First of all, we're talking about not even bothering to dribble. So, how do you get a gather step if you weren't even dribbling? So I get to like throw the ball up in the air, take a step and grab it again. Now I have gathered the ball and I can take more than 3 steps. After that, their wording is.
Oh gosh, this is crazy, bro. At some point, bro, how you going to gather from the half court? Take extra steps. It's supposed to say, "Oh, gather before taking 2 steps," but that's 4 steps in total. Then you add another 6 steps, and you're not calling that as a travel. And then you gather again to go for a dunk or whatever it is. Oh man, these rule changes, bro. These rule changes have taken away from the game of basketball, the physicality, the I gotta see the other. Actually, this is a good series. This is actually a great, great series. Changing the rules. But then here's the thing. They want to disrespect old school basketball. Like there's no credibility. But look at what they're doing right now. Modern basketball moving forward. It's unwatchable. It's unbearable. Oh, oh, this was a great video. Angry old hoops fan. I wonder what other rule changes because LeBron is going on year what? 21? You're going on to year 21 for what? What are you chasing after that? If you had some sensible thought, you would have been like, all right, we got the young players coming into the league. It's in great hands. All right, that's it. My time's up. I've gave it everything I had. I'm satisfied with where everything is in my career. Give the other players and rising stars a chance to become the face of the league. This is crazy. You give it a like. Come on, man. Hey, man. Catch you guys on the next reaction.